If you're thinking about moving to Colorado Springs, you may be wondering where some of the best areas to live are. In this series, I've broken down Colorado Springs into different areas. That way you can kind of get a better feel for what area may be right for you. My name is Ben, and in this channel we make videos about what it's like to live and move to the Colorado Springs area. Having grown up in the area and then moved away and then come back, I've gained a lot of experience with some of the intricacies of the area. Also, we are a team of realtors and would love to earn your business, so if you're getting any value out of these videos, we'd love to hear from you, but honestly, I really just love talking about Colorado Springs. So give us a call or a text, we'd love to hear from you. In this series, we've broken down Colorado Springs into 5 different areas to kind of help you get a sense of the layout of the land. So we've got the central portion, we've got the northern portion, the eastern portion, southern, and western. And today we're going to go over the northern portion of Colorado Springs. So that's anything north of Briargate Boulevard to about the Palmer Lake area, and that consists of places like Palmer Lake, Monument, Glen Eagle, and like the Northgate Interquest area. In this series, we're going to break down each area with 3 different criteria. So the feel, so what is it like to actually live in this area? The downsides, what are some of the unexpected cons of living here? And then the cost, so what does it take to purchase and to rent a house or apartment in this area? So first off, let's talk about the feel of this northern section. So you really have 2 distinct sections within this northern portion. So you have this Northgate area up to Baptist Road, and then from Baptist Road up into Monument and Palmer Lake. So you can kind of think about these 2 areas as similar but a little bit different. So in the northern portion with Monument and Palmer Lake, they're kind of like the laid-back cousins to Colorado Springs. So Palmer Lake and Monument are largely suburban, but you also have somewhat of a downtown and a small town feel in these areas, which makes it feel a little bit more unique. And the way that the mountains actually are positioned with the city, they actually curve towards this northern area, which really helps kind of give it a mountain town feel. But then as you go kind of south in this portion of the northern section, it's going to get a little bit less mountainous. So really in this northern portion with Monument and Palmer Lake, it's going to really have a little bit of a small town, mountain town feel, although a large portion of it is still going to be suburban. So once you cross Baptist Road, it technically becomes Colorado Springs. In this area, this southern portion of the northern part of Colorado Springs, in my mind feels very suburban with a ton of mainstream amenities, and they're kind of constantly building in this section just because it's so sought after. So you really have all the chain amenities that you'd want. However, in terms of the locally owned places, there's going to be just not as many options. But that being said, you are just a short drive to Monument and Palmer Lake, and both of these areas are going to have just more unique locally owned amenities. So if you're looking for, some really top quality restaurants or specific places that just have like a hometown feel, you may need to drive a bit. But overall, you're going to be pretty much covered. Also, speaking of amenities, one of the biggest pros to this southern portion of the northern part of Colorado Springs is the big concert venue that they are building just off the Northgate exit. So this is going to be an outdoor amphitheater with a mountain view that I'm honestly pretty excited about, because going to any concerts, you really normally have to go up to Denver. And so this is really going to change the feel of this section of Colorado Springs and give a lot of life to it. Another thing that really affects the feel of this area is just the amount of outdoor activities. So you've got a couple small bodies of water with Palmer Lake and Monument Lake, and then you have a bunch of different hiking trails with places like Fox Run Park, Limbaugh Canyon, Mount Herman, and kind of a bunch of others. I remember one time my wife and I, when we first met 7 years ago, I decided to take her on a hiking date to hike Mount Herman at night, and looking back on that, probably not the wisest decision, but personally I love Mount Herman. It has some great views, really awesome trail, fairly easy, but it's also a good couple mile hike up and down. Highly recommend it. And honestly, in terms of the water portion of these outdoor activities, it's pretty unique to this area specifically because there are like hardly any bodies of water in Colorado Springs. Also, commute times are going to play a role to the feel of this area. So you're about 20-25 minutes-ish to the downtown portion of Colorado Springs, depending on where you are in this area, and then about an hour from Denver. So this could be great for you if you're in the northern section, you're commuting to Denver, or if you are maybe in the southern portion of this, commuting to Colorado Springs. But overall, the way that I-25 is positioned, the main highway, although you're a little bit further distance-wise, the commute times aren't that long because you can hop straight on the highway and head down or north. So in thinking about like how I would summarize this area if I were explaining it to someone who is moving here in like a single sentence, would be organized suburban with more of a mountain town feel. So going straight into the downsides, one of the biggest cons of this area is going to be the price, which we'll go over the specifics of that at the end of this video. But overall, you're going to have bigger houses in better school districts. So overall, that's just going to bring the prices up quite a bit in this area. So the second biggest downside in my mind to this area is, although you have a bunch of different outdoor activities, you really don't have that many indoor activities. So they have built quite a few like chain places in this southern portion with places like Bass Pro, Shields, indoor skydiving, go-karts, and then the new amphitheater that they're building. But overall, you're just not going to have the same amount of things to do as places like this central portion of Colorado Springs, or at least it just doesn't have that downtown charm. Another notable downside to this area is the lack of hospitals. So they have just built a new hospital off of the Interquest exit. But that being said, if you are in the Monument or Palmer Lake area, it's still going to be 15 minutes-ish to the nearest hospital. So if you're someone with maybe chronic health conditions, this is maybe something to take into account. And then the last real downside of this area, which honestly could be a pro depending on who you are, is the higher elevation. So Palmer Lake is going to sit at the highest elevation at around 7,300 feet. Monument is going to sit at around 6,900 feet. And then compare this to Colorado Springs, which is just over 6,000, really makes it so that it's going to snow quite a bit more in this northern portion. Now you may be moving here and want a bunch of snow and you're excited about that. If that's the case, this will be a huge pro, but if you're kind of hoping for a little bit more of a mild weather type of feel, this could be a major con. So growing up, I actually lived in this portion of Colorado Springs and went to school in more of the central portion of Colorado Springs, and remember vividly waking up in the morning when we had a foot of snow, being really excited that there was going to be a snow day, all to find out that there was nothing because it had only snowed 2 inches in Colorado Springs. So sometimes there can be a really huge difference with snowfall. So again, this could be a pro, this could be a con, but just know there is a big difference. And I was looking online for snowfall totals just to get a number on it. So places like Palmer Lake are going to get about 100 inches of snow annually versus Colorado Springs is going to be about 57 inches. So that kind of gives you an idea. So let's go over the cost to live in this area. Like I mentioned, this is one of the downsides to this area, so it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So if you look at the sold prices within the last 30 days, the median price is going to be around $668. That being said, there's a lot of these bigger houses in Monument and Woodmore where it honestly feels closer to $650, $670. We actually just sold a house in the Jackson Creek area a couple weeks ago, and that one sold for around $670. So pretty much spot on to this median price. And then if you're looking to rent in this area, the median for both homes and apartments is going to be around $2,100. That being said, homes specifically, are going to be quite a bit more in this area just because they are a little bit bigger and nicer. So do know if you're looking to rent a house in this area, it's going to be more than that $2,100. So this kind of wraps up the northern portion of Colorado Springs. So let us know in the comments whether you think this is the worst area or you think this is a good spot for you. And stay tuned for the next video where we go over the eastern portion of Colorado Springs.